Good evening or good early morning as I'm recording this on Thursday morning. This is April Mitchell. I am bringing you this video block for our INFM 645 Risk Assessment and Ethics class with Mercer University. For this video blog, we are to discuss the Institutional Review Board's application form and describe information that a typical IRB application requires when using data information from an EHR for research. And we are to identify at least the three most important sections of the IRB application form and focus more on them in our discussion. First, I wanted to kind of get an understanding of what an institutional review board is, or as we acronym it, IRB. Basically, it is an institutional committee of people that oversee and research involving human subjects in a given institution. Also, I wanted to just touch on the reason why an IRB exists. Basically, it is to protect the rights and welfare of the people who are participating in these research trials or studies. It also is to balance risk, any potential risk that the participants may face during this research, and also the benefit for society. Now I want to talk about a little bit about the applications process and what the forms look like. In my research, I found many forms from different institutions, whether it be mostly colleges that do have a health research area. I looked at like Emory's. Also, they are a teaching hospital as well, to see what their application looked like. And it was just the amount of information on those applications was pretty much overwhelming. But basically, it consisted of core information that I think is important to bring up on any IRB application. One being informed consent. There were several different ways that some of these institutions wanted to do the informed consents. For example, like the University of Southern California, they had a biomedical consent. They had their HIPAA authorization forms, came in several different languages. They had different type of forms where you can do an exempt, an expedited, or full board review. So that's just to name a few of the things that I saw in these applications. But informed consent was the consensus across the board as being one of the most important. Another important factor, especially when you're doing exchange of data from electronic health records, you want to make sure that you can de-identify the data. I think in today's discussion, one of our classmates talked about that in her workplace. But basically, I just wanted to touch on it again to make you aware of what de-identification really means. Basically, is where you want to make sure that the participants' data is not, that you can't identify who that person is, that you make it to where you can identify the name, their address, any demographic information that will pertain to that patient, and so that you can find out who they were just by, if you were to just read a clinical trial, you can say, oh, that's my neighbor, such and such. So that's very important, another piece of the application process as far as electronic transmission of information. Another piece of that would be the limited data set, which is basically, again, talking about not being able to relink the individual patients to the particular study. Another point that I noticed during these application processes and what they were saying that was important and wasn't important. Another thing was, let me see, when an investigator wants to do get research from another institution that is not their own, that requires, HIPAA requires that that entity, of course, protects the PHI, the protected health information, again, through the whole de-identifying and things of that nature. I think also another part of the process would be how to store that information, how to store it securely. Would be another important section of the application that would need to be addressed. Have to figure out some sort of way to make sure that that patient information that is on this particular form is stored in a secure way to prevent any potential risk of that information being seen by someone that is not supposed to, or shared in a way that will jeopardize the participants and the institution as well. So that's my take on this week's discussion of IRBs. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.